You are now listening to Out of the Blank.
Well, welcome to another episode of Out of the Blank podcast. I'm here with Mr. George Jett.
What's up, guys? How you guys doing today?
Mr. George Jett, tell me a little bit about yourself and what do you do professionally?
Well, I am a DJ here in South Florida, working for Hot 105, a radio station, syndicated show for Tom Joyner Morning Show. I'm also a full-time DJ, meaning mobile DJ, spinning at clubs and doing all that good stuff. I also have a show on YouTube, which is called The Better Than Nothing Show. And I do videography and a little bit of photography.
So how did you decide to get into radio? Like, is that just like one thing you wanted to do as a kid? Because usually, you need to have some type of ability or talent. Usually a good way of speaking, which a lot of people don't realize is actually a skill, being able to communicate or have a voice that is, I guess, favorited by a lot of people.
Yeah, radio came last in my career. And it's one of those things where it just came in last. I'm more familiarized more with the DJ portion of it, the music portion, the programming, and the actual mixing. But radio is nice. Radio is really, really nice.
Yeah, both my parents are broadcasters, and then on their side gigs, they do DJs at night. And it was always strange because I figured I would pick up podcasting and decide to hop into like broadcasting or something. But I don't know. There's just a sense of when you hear somebody talk on the radio, like, I don't know if this is like this for you, but for me, I can tell if they're using some type of radio voice. Usually when you hear someone come on, oh, you're listening to KHO 102. It's like, oh, that is not how that guy talks. At least I'm hoping.
Right. There's two types. Yes. There's the projected type or the hype type jock. But you also have regular guys that have amazing voices that they get on the mic and you're like, wow. And you meet them in person and they speak just like that. But the animated radio jock is a little bit different. Yeah, I do agree with you. I always wondered that myself. If you meet them out in the street, are they going to say, hey, how you doing?
Can you pass the side of mashed potatoes?
Could I have a little ketchup with that, please?
Like, what's going on? Are we in some type of movie right now? Am I being punked? Is Ashton Kutcher going to come out and kick me in the nuts? What's happening?
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I do agree with that.
Did you have to decide at one point when you were getting into radio if you were going to do that or not? Because it seems like it's that you have this, like, you're always kind of questioning yourself before you go onto radio for the first time. Like, should I do this? Should I do that? What's going to sound better? And then once it happens and you roll, like, you immediately choose it for yourself.
No, I mean, if you go to broadcast school, you can choose to go into personality jock, which is basically an on-air jock, or you can work behind the scenes or as part of the DJ portion of it, the music programming.
Yeah, my dad was a program director, so he lined up all the music. I remember so many nights he would just sit there and be like, I got to go. And I'm like, wow. He's like, there's a problem at the station. There's dead air. And he would drive out at like 1 o'clock in the morning out to the station and fix something because he ran everything. I mean, he's worked from Froggy 99.9 to 93.5 The Beach to 98.1 to almost every single station under the sun. Nice. He's been doing it for 40-something years.
Nice. Yeah, radio stations have changed a lot. In the last, I would say, 15, 20 years, everything's been automated now. So the whole dead air is no longer, back then, probably they put a reel and let the reel play for, 8 hours or a 4 or 5 hour shift. They didn't. I don't know if he had computer automation back then, but
I mean, this was just a couple of years ago. He stopped.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
Okay, so they did have.
My dad's only 50.
Got you. Yeah, because nowadays it's all computerized. So all the music, once the program director puts it in the radio station, the radio station basically runs itself. I mean, you honestly don't need a jock at the radio station.
Half the
I
time,
guess.
you don't even need to be actually at the studio. A lot of times, like when I listen to morning talk show, like my mom still does that for Secrets in Ocean City, Maryland.
Okay.
And it's a popular bar town, but they have a talk radio in the morning, and like I can hear it. Like I can hear him. The guys doesn't sound like he's actually there, but it'll just be two of them in studio, talking and stuff, and then they're using like some recording of the guy, and they just create the conversation with them. And I'm like, oh, so it's like he's in the room or he's calling from a phone or something. You wouldn't even know.
Yeah, voice tracking. That's what that's called. So you can pre-program a show with voice tracking, and you can just add the little moments that you need the person to talk, or they can be in a remote, which is basically what I've been doing now with the Tom Joyner Morning Show. I'm not sure if you guys know who that is, but he's kind of like the black Ryan Seacrest or of radio. So it's a black show. And he has, market, I don't know, like 200 and something stations throughout United States. And he moved from Texas to South Florida. So the main studio is still in Dallas. So right now we're basically doing a remote from the South Florida, connecting there because all the other guests are in Dallas and he's here in Miami.
Do you think that's weird that there's a talk show, it seems like on the radio, that is an only specific race group?
No, because you have the radio station that we have is an urban radio station. So it's urban music.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Urban doesn't always mean like a certain race or anything. I just always find it a little bit strange because, I mean, obviously there's the stations like where it's just playing nothing but urban music and stuff. And you know, kind of the demographic that would listen to it. But I'm like, trust me, I've seen the whitest of white people be rolling and listening to like 98.2 or something. That's like an awful.
Right. Well, when we mean by urban, meaning it's usually a black station. So a lot of black artists, a lot of topics that have to do with blacks. And it is very strange because when I first started working there, I found it kind of strange myself too, because, the issues or the topics that they're talking about, if I would have flipped that around and made it into white, it would be pretty controversial.
Yeah.
It's very, very, very strange.
I think it's weird, like listening to that only on I understand they're trying to their audience. So they're like, oh, we're going to target this audience. But it's like, if you know what the power of music is, and if you truly care, just the love for the music, it doesn't really matter who's listening.
Right. Well, there is here in South Florida, we have multiple radio stations, but we are the number one radio station for R&B and hip, old school and R&B. And like I said, I would say 90%, 95% of all the advertisers or all the guests are all black.
Yeah, there's a radio, I think, station out there. It's like probably in the thousands. It's like 102.6 or something. And it's like a symphony channel. There's nothing but old school like opera music. And
Wow.
that's an elderly demographic that they're going after.
Correct.
I mean, you to see grandma sitting in the car like, I love this song. And you're like,
right.
It's a cello for 5 minutes.
Well, you got to understand, radio stations make money with listeners. So if they have part of the demographic, let's just say, for example, if we switch it around, let's just continue, I guess, with a black audience, because that's what the radio station we're talking about. But if they have most of the black community listening to that radio station, then the advertisers will pay more because they know the target audience is going to be what they're looking for. So if they're selling black products or whatever it might be, that's the person they want to do. They're not going to go into, like, say, a top 40 and then say, okay, well, our demographics 18 to 25 of the blacks, only 13% listen to us, as opposed to we can say 85% of the blacks listen to us between 18 to 35 or whatever it might be. And that goes with any other station too. It could be, let's say, a country station. You're not going to be advertising Trick Daddy or Drake at a country station. The demographics is not there.
Yeah, I'm not questioning that. I just think it's crazy that we all talk about, this world where we're being open to so many things, but it seems like the one thing we never even choose to question, one of the most restricting labels of all, is the fact that we have radio stations that are fit to different demographics.
Yes.
That's like something that like just pops in there. No one even bothers even discussing. Where it's like,
Nobody does. Yeah.
yeah, it's like, oh, that's the urban station, or that's the, that's whatever, because they play a certain type of song. It's like, when did we start classifying stations? When did we start labeling them? And then they went with it too. They just started playing music for the audience that they had, which makes sense. That's how you get like I guess listeners and
Advertisers. Yeah.
But it's just a weird concept.
Yeah, it is. It is just, but it's almost like a dating site. You have multiple dating sites for different type of people. You have farmers dating sites. You have eHarmony. You have all different types of Christian. Like Christian Connection for only Christians.
Dude,
go there, or Jewish. For example,
I got a dating website spam email, and it said elderly Asian men. I was like, hold on a second. What does that mean? Like,
what the hell?
And it's literally a site where there's elderly Asian men. And like, I immediately, when I read it, I was like, I immediately thought George Takei. And then I started going into the actual site, and there was like people that were looking, and then there was women that were looking for elderly Asian men, like if you're in the area. And I'm like, is this like one of those things like where you just randomly get an email saying you got hot singles in your area that are like 2 miles away that want to talk to you? I'm like, okay, well, where are they at? Because I'm standing outside and nobody's coming.
Right. Yeah. And that's what works, because like I said, they do a niche market, and it happens. But it works for them.
I think the craziest thing about radio in general is the listening, like the capability of how a DJ, or even if you're DJing a club, let's say, you have to know how to read your audience as well. Like you were saying, like fitting towards a certain demographic. If you go into a club with a bunch of young kids in there, you're not going to be playing Frank Sinatra or anything, or you're not. It's going to kill the vibe of the whole room. When you go in there, and I've talked to a couple DJs on the podcast before, but talking about what's on your arsenal or your tool belt as a DJ. And there's always a can of Red Bull. There's always some type of energy drink that's keeping you going. But it's because you're there until they close, like 4:00 in the morning sometimes. You're playing music. Yeah, you have a set that you have to do, but at the same time, you're also trying to make sure that you're throwing out hits and stuff that people are going to get up and dance to. That's going to create the bar or wherever you're DJing at money, and bring a source of income to them, where they in turn want you back again.
That's correct. And yeah, the DJ has to keep the people there, keep the people drinking, clear the dance floor every now and then so they can go to the bar. If it's one of those dance clubs where the place is completely packed and everybody's dancing, the DJ is there to set the vibe and keep people sweating so they can go and consume some more alcohol, because that's where all the money is. Which is a whole different topic there. We can go into that in another day if you want. But there's so much behind the scenes as far as clubs and DJs. It's just unbelievable.
It's crazy because when you look at all the factors that play into what a DJ has to do, the biggest thing is kind of creating a camaraderie with the people. You got to sit there and talk to them. You can't just play hit after hit after hit after hit.
That's correct.
They're going to be like, okay, it's just music. It's like I can just listen to this at a restaurant with someone plugging in their MP3. You got to still go in between the songs. Like, coming up next, we got a request line or request hour if anybody wants to throw up a song. And then my dad would always complain about someone that would get drunk and stand beside him and yell at him the whole time. Play this song. He's like, I played it already. Play this song.
Yeah, I love that. I'm sure your dad has some good stories behind the radio and club gigs, because there are funny stories, man. Lots of funny stories.
Imagine being on the radio and you're playing songs, and a guy keeps calling back to request the same damn song. You're like, dude, why don't you just get it downloaded on your phone? He's like, I just want to hear it on the radio, man.
Yeah. A little topic, a little note that, believe it or not, a lot of radio stations don't have request lines anymore. Yeah.
That's weird, because
at least in South Florida, there's really no such thing as a request line.
I was about to say down here, that's all what it is. It's requests from people, call in and get this certain song. Or we'll play this song for what's his face out there, Jim and 2 Buck 2. It's like, okay, well, and a lot of times, like I've talked to, just the other night, I was talking to a broadcaster himself, and he was telling me that he's had to fake phone calls and requests before. Like, we got Marge in Charge. Yeah, Marge in Charge out in Kansas. Thank you. We're gonna play a track for you. And like next thing you know, it's just something that's a top hit.
Right.
If you listen to the radio stations enough, you start to see the same song cycle over and over
Yeah.
again.
Well, back in the 80s and early 90s, it was top 40, top 40. So the track listings they had is top 40. Now it's top 20. So the same 20 songs are going to be rotated in high rotation on top. So if you figure that every song is about 3 minutes long, you have maybe about 15 minutes worth of talk an hour from the DJ, you can start predicting that song is going to come out again within the next, X amount of time. And yeah, it's in high rotation. It's in high rotation. That's how they keep their audience.
Do you listen to radio when you're out, like just driving around? Because the weirdest thing I always question about my dad was I would never hear him actually listen to the radio unless it was for work. When he got out and then he did DJing at night, and then he also did like a band thing on the side. So he literally was music 24/7. He was like, I get enough of it at work. And I would just see him roll down the window and just listen to like the natural sounds.
Natural sound. It all depends. Funny enough, what is it? WLRN here in South Florida, which is almost like an NPR. It's a nonprofit radio station, normally news, or they play like jazz music at night. After I get out of the clubs, the last thing I want to do is hear more banging music. So I will always have that radio station on. That's my number one, dialed in on program number one. And it's usually jazz and news. I really don't want to hear music outside of work. But every now and then I do throw other radio stations to see what the competitors are doing and what music is out, because sometimes a song comes out that you don't know about. And next thing you know, they're requesting it at the next gig.
Yeah, if you really want to go and figure out what music is trending, just pull your window down when you're driving. There's someone out there listening.
Somebody out there blasting it.
Yeah, singing on top of their lungs. That's some of the best feelings of music, though.
Yeah, here's a funny thing. DJs nowadays are, before the DJs or the mobile DJs, the DJs you heard at a club or you heard at a bar or lounge or whatever, not on radio, they would break in new music. So they would play a brand new song, let's say from Drake that no one's heard of, or Bryan Adams, whoever. It doesn't matter who it is, but a brand new song that no one's ever heard of, and it's not on the radio, and people will just be either they like it or not. Nowadays, it's the other way around. There's people that come to me and request songs that I have never heard of. And they're like, yeah, could you play, Paul Lewis? And I'm like, Paul Lewis? I don't know who that is. He goes, what do you mean?
Is that the guy that helped Sacagawea discover America? That's the answer you got to give. They're like, nah, man, Paul Lewis. And you're just like, wait a minute. Is that the guy that owns the famous hair salon? No, that's Paul
right.
Mitchell.
That's Paul Mitchell there. Yeah. So they come up to me and say, hey, play Paul Lewis. And I'm like, I have no idea what this is, and next thing you know, it's one of those trending songs that they know about it. And the DJs don't know, and the radio stations don't know about it. So it's been where the audience nowadays tells the DJ what to play. It's kind of strange. It's reversed.
It's also the fact that you guys, like a lot of stations, get music before it's released. Like when it's like here's a little like track or CD that's coming out in a few months. It's going to be a later release. They get it first.
Yes.
And I know my dad would take those and he'd place them on the radio, and then he would take them and then go out to his DJ gigs and see what would work with it.
Right. Those are reporting billboard. And I'm sure your dad was probably like a reporting billboard DJ where he would play to an audience in public, and then he would be receptive to if they liked it or they didn't like it or his comments, and then he would report back to Billboard.
Nah,
And
he would
usually,
literally just do it because
okay,
he would
gotcha.
hear like a really good song or something, be like, this artist is like, this hasn't been released yet. People are going to like this. Then he'd play it, and then he'd just bring it back the next day after it was downloaded on his computer, and then he'd have a whole set list lined up.
Yeah, that could happen, but nowadays with the internet, usually the audience is the one that knows more than the DJ, because they're listening to music out there, either Spotify, Pandora, or wherever they find their music. Social media, they find a song and they said, "Hey, DJ, play this song," and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Hey, DJ, spin that shit.
Yeah, I mean, just the other day, I'm working at a lounge. This was Sunday. We're doing a brunch, and it's all lounge music back in, just chilling vibe. The management just definitely doesn't want anything that nobody wants. Nobody knows. Very eclectic music. And the chef comes out. He goes, "Hey, you got any Metallica?" I'm like, wow. Are you serious?
Like,
are you serious?
Do I look like I listen to Metallica? I don't know, man. I haven't heard that song in a while. You got anything some AC/DC on there too? But no, man. I don't think you've been here that long. Did you just walk in the door? Because if you listen to any of the music I'm playing, there is nothing like that in here.
Right.
I saw the weirdest thing happened at a MMA fight. It was a professional caged fighting thing down kind of in our local area. And there was a person that had died, I guess like a couple of weeks before. So the DJ goes, "At a moment of silence for," and then says the person's name. And then everyone has their head down. And not even a second later, all you hear is the DJ air horn. Everyone's like, "Are you serious?" And he would just start playing music. Like, dun, 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 dun. And I was like, "Where's the moment of silence?" He was like, "No, that moment was legit." That
You're
moment.
Right. I'm sure that guy's not working there anymore. That's crazy.
That's
nuts.
If you because I've seen clubs and DJs, like people that, Steve Aoki, that famous DJ.
Yep.
Well, I know people that do what he does. Someone I know, his name is Benjamin Peterson. This guy's DJ in Germany right now. He's on tour, but he plays in front of crowds and just plays like nothing but music. Beats, all the stuff he kind of creates on his own. And I was trying to relate his experience and what he faces that's completely different from like my dad that did the bar gigs.
Right.
And it was like, you break your back lugging up amplifiers and stuff, trying to set up at the bar. And then he's talking about like, "Oh no, I have these beats that I would create in a studio and see what would go with my audience." And he's talking about selling out these 500,000 things. It was completely different to my dad just going at a bar, reading the room and figuring out that, hey, there's a lot of older people in here. They're probably going to want to hear country music, something that's
right.
Everybody likes Zach Brown. Let me throw on some Zach Brown.
Right. Yeah, there's different types of DJs. There's mobile DJs that do weddings. There's DJs that do bars only. There's DJs that stick to classics, for example. And there's performing DJs, which is like Steve Aoki and things like that, that they're not taking requests and they're not playing the mainstream type music. So it's different, it's just different performance. Usually if you want to get rich, you have to create your own beats and you have to be the Steve Aoki style. If you want to stay, low key, you want to stay in your town, work bars and work stuff like that, you can work your regular job, but you'll never get rich like that, unless, your town pays out good money. But usually you want to be a performer, and a performer is the one that has security guards and all that stuff. So nobody's going to come in the middle of you throwing on an electro set or whatever, and somebody's going to say, "Yo, play Zach Brown." It's not going to happen.
Yeah, like you were talking about earlier, how a kind of a DJ, when it has to read the room, but also, know when it's the right moment for something too. Like you can't, when you do a lineup or something, you can't really play, let's say Stairway to Heaven. What the hell are you playing after Stairway to Heaven? That's not a beat. That's not an intro song. That is an ending song. That's what
it's an ending song.
It's like, it's like Through the Fire and Flames, that song that goes on for 8 minutes. You go and take a piss or a shit, you come back and the damn song's still playing.
Right. Yeah. 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 You got to know how to play the crowd. You know, you're playing to the crowd and you got to know how to mix in the music and you need to know how to follow up something else. There's one point where you can build it up so high where you're like, okay, this song is so hot. What are you going to follow this up with? Are you going to, usually you might have to slow it down because it's such a powerful song that there's nothing better than that song at the moment. Because remember, the DJ's creating that vibe.
Does it get old for you after a while? I mean, just doing DJ gigs, or do you find that's kind of like you're like maybe not maybe like doing it for like a family thing, like
Mhm.
if a family has like a wedding or something, you DJ it, obviously. But when it comes to kind of like you've been doing it for a while, and it seems like does it ever get a little bit old and tiring?
Yes and no. It could get tiring, but the music style that's now out, like for example, the new hip hop that we play down here, if I'm playing in a younger crowd, I don't have a problem with it because that's what they know. But I can't get into that type of music too much because to me is I know the story behind it and it's just something I can't groove to. It's in other words, um, there's music that let's take an analogy of a Ferrari, okay, and then take a I don't know, a beat up car that barely runs. So when I know there's golden nuggets in music, which is a Ferrari, why am I going to play that beat up car? And the new music that's out now, most of it is a beat up car.
Well, that's because if you notice the studio, everything that what it sounds like, they all sound the fucking same.
Well, they all sound the same, and this is going into hip hop. The reason they sound the same is because one guy created a hit, and then the other guy said, "You know what? Let's copy that." He copies that, and now everybody's copying the same style of music. So when you hear, let's say, hip hop music, I don't know what city, what state are you in?
Maryland.
Maryland. So I don't know if hip hop is big in Maryland or not, but down in South Florida, mostly we have a lot of hip hop stations and the music is just a copy of the other one, kind of like mumble rap. Do you know what mumble rap is?
Yeah, I know, and I know Snoop Dogg hates it.
Right, exactly. So how do you compare Snoop Dogg or Biggie compared to mumble rap, which you barely understand what they're saying, and all they're doing is just rhyming noises?
I think who made it best was a better analogy for it was Run DMC. I saw an interview with him where he was talking about creating his music and everything like this, and just hearing a record for the first time, and then
Right.
going home and playing the same thing over and over and over again because he was so captivated by it. And then eventually, where we saw the actual birth of hip hop was when they started taking two tracks and then kind of mashing them together and creating their own little bit of music.
Right.
Eventually that grew into something. That's an
Right.
art form, but the art you see now, the rap
Yeah.
that comes out now, it's not bad. It just doesn't seem original anymore.
Well, it's not original and it's not creative either because it's just a beat that you can go to beatsforus.com, buy a beat for $5 and then rap over it, do a mumble rap, put some auto tune, put a couple of filters and then just mumble stuff out and that's it. You have a song.
Well, the music industry now has turned into a lot like the film industry where they have a template. They know what works.
Right.
Add some details to it, maybe put a certain person behind it, and they know it's going to be a top trending thing. But
True,
they're not.
at least it takes talent. At least in the film industry, it takes talent to at least do something correct. And when you have a bad actor.
Yeah. And
Right?
a lot of factors go into that too. The same
Right.
reason why you couldn't make if you wanted to make let's say a top rap song on the charts, you can have the whole beat, everything lined up because there is a frequency. I don't know if you know this, that with our ears, there's a
Mhm.
certain attraction and it's between four different chords. I don't know if you've ever seen four chords on YouTube.
Yes, I heard of it.
But it's where every major pop hit was played out by just the same four chords. Don't Stop Believin', Stairway, all these,
Yep.
everything can be played by. It's because our ears have a certain frequency where we hear it and then it gets stuck in our head.
Correct.
So now they figured out what that is and they're using it towards rap now. And now every time you hear a studio beat or something, if you listen to it and then you play maybe another different version, it sounds exactly the same.
Right.
there's the subtle notes that you can change. Like, oh, this is where like it gets stuck in my head, or it becomes a top chart thing. But it lost the originality and the concept of they're not worried about staying on the charts anymore.
Right.
They just want that minute of fame. And then when that minute of fame is over, they already got money. So next thing you know, they can just rap about. It's hard for me to relate to rap, the newer version, because whenever I hear someone rapping, it's all about like, I got 600 white BMWs. I'm like, well, I don't have 600 white BMWs.
Right. Right.
But like, even for me, like, yeah, I'm white.
Right. True. And you bring up a point, but back then hip hop wasn't that way. If you hear Rapper's Delight, I mean, I know you're pretty young, but if you hear Rapper's Delight from 1980, I believe, they're talking about life. If you hear Slick Rick, I know I'm dating myself and I'm talking about old school hip hop. They're not talking about bitches and hoes and cars and what money I have and what drug I took and how many people I shot. They're not talking about that. They're talking about life.
They're talking about the struggle.
The struggle, correct.
See, this is what really upsets me about some people that sit there and say, you don't know because that's only the black people know what struggle is. That is not true.
That's not true.
Okay?
I agree. I agree.
You get to see that more in society now, because now there are people that have to work 2 jobs, 3 jobs to support a mother. A mother can't work 3 jobs and have time to cook food for her 4 kids. It's not going to happen.
Right. But it's, again, the reason why you hear that, it's because it's a copy of the next song. If you hear hip hop trending throughout the years from the 80s, 90s, 2000, you see a trend. You see it at the beginning as struggles of how they made stuff and then how they got to where they're at. And then you go into the 90s, which was really hip hop party. Good songs like MC Hammer, let's say, for example, in the 90s. Then you go into the 2000, which is your biggies. And then you go into now, and there is really no positive hip hop songs out there.
No, it's all about talking about how much the person has or how wealthy they are. Or
that's correct.
How fucked up they got.
That's correct. And again, that could go white or black. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to be black to suffer.
Yeah.
Or to
it's not like, I know Lavelle Crawford is one of my favorite comedians, but he has in him and DL Huey have the same jokes when it comes to living a black childhood. And I'm like, that's not true, because that's just that's a poverty childhood. Because
correct.
I remember having to run to another room because I had a crack in the microwave, when he heated something up.
Like a crack in the microwave.
I swear to you, I remember when I was a kid and I got off my bus stop, my mom told me that I better be in the house when I get off the bus stop and don't open up the door for anybody until she came home from work. Right. I made sure that I locked that door up like Fort Knox, and I went in there and I watched whatever I was watching on TV, and I did not touch that door until she showed up.
Me too.
That's not living a certain race's lifestyle. That's just understanding that there's dangers out there, and it's the way our parents have learned to prepare us for them.
Right. The other topic, I don't know if you wanted to talk about, which again, it might be a little controversial, but the N-word.
See, I think, okay, so what do you want to?
Well, here's where I see it. Because the black hip hop artists or black people in general in the art industry are freaking out when a white person says the N-word. Okay, when they're singing it.
Did you see that video?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know the one I'm talking about, where the girl gets on stage and starts rapping. You hear the whole audience of white people say it, but then once she says it, they all start booing her. And
exactly.
Like, did I say it? He goes, "You had to bleep one word." I was like, "We're choosing to make it stigmatized when we do that."
Right. Well, hey, this is what I say: if you don't want the word in there, don't put it in your lyrics.
You got it. You got it.
It's that simple. If don't make your lyrics with that word in it, because guess what? Lyrics are supposed to be, sung. So somebody's going to sing it, and you have the N-word in there. Guess what? They're going to do it. So don't put it in.
I think Dave Chappelle said it best, that there's a lot of maybe racism towards black, white, whatever. But honestly, the real people that are really, truly getting pushed against with racism are Asian people. Everyone Everyone says jokes on Asian people, and you know what?
Mhm.
Dave Chappelle made a great point. He said because by the time they're 35, they own 4 businesses and are retired and living a perfect life because they work their ass off.
Right, and they don't care about what you're calling them.
Exactly, because they're going to be driving by in their Audi, and you're going to be sitting there working at a laundromat or something. Like, damn,
Right.
what did I do wrong?
Yep.
I mean, I love rap music. I love the old school type stuff. I mean, even when I first started, it was like I was listening to Vanilla Ice. I listened to
Mhm.
that one just a couple of times because I like the catchy beat. But then when I started finding stuff like, even going off into the Temptations, that's basically a little bit of a more classical version of rap. I mean, the fact they're still
Yeah.
rhyming, then
Mhm.
finding Beastie Boys, then going into
Oh, yeah.
NWA.
NWA.
Yeah, and then I was one of 2 white people in the whole entire theater that saw Straight Outta Compton when it came out.
Right.
It
What
was a
did you like the movie?
fuck yeah, I love that
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
I think that Ice Cube's son looks exactly like Ice Cube.
Yes.
I was
Yes.
sitting there, I was like, did they just put like CGI on Ice Cube's face?
Right. Yeah, they did a good job. The movie was great. Believe it or not, when I started DJing that type of music or that hip hop, that type of rap music, that's hip hop. I mean rap or slash hip hop. That was the entrance between Run DMC, which was rap, and then going into the hip hop crowd. Decades. I didn't really care for that type of music because here in South Florida, we were used to the fast Miami bass, is what was called. Like, say, Two Life Crew, for example. You know who Two Life Crew is?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so Two Life Crew, like Me So Horny, Pop That Pussy, Move Something, those type of songs were all fast and were all about partying and hoes and this and that, whatever. But it was a party song that it got you to dance. And then when NWA came out and all of those other slower raps, I didn't get into it. So I didn't start enjoying that type of music until late 2000.
Yeah.
And now I hear it and it's like, okay, I get it. It's cool. There's a lot of classics in there. Snoop Dogg and all that stuff is in there as well.
Have you ever heard
But
of the band Atmosphere?
no, I have not.
They have a really good song called The Best Day. And
Okay.
he's literally talking and he's rapping, but he's just talking about problems that we can all face. Like, I can't eat till I find my money. My money's in my wallet, but my wallet ain't in my pocket. Can't remember the last time I saw it. And like, he just keeps on just talking like that through the whole song. It's just this same beat over and over again. But it's so good because it's literally like I'm listening to it. I'm like, damn, like I know all this shit. I know staring at the clock, waiting for that minute hand to go down so you can get out of school because the teacher thinks I'm a fool. Like, fuck yeah, I know what that means. You listen to the Beastie Boys, they rapped like 97% in all their songs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, that's like a lot. See, rap back in the day was just considered you had to rhyme or something. It's like, no, it's about being original and coming out with a new style.
I want you to hear, and I'm sure you have, Rakim. Have you ever heard of that artist?
I have a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. He is honestly, the number one lyricist out there. He doesn't cuss in any of his work. He tells you a story. It's literally paid in full. Listen to that one. Okay. And then you can listen to any other ones. Rakim, Rakim, paid in full. It's a story about a day, and he goes from the beginning right to the end. Children's Story is another one. That's the name of the song by Slick Rick. It's a story. I mean, this guy, there's no hooks, nothing like that. It's just a straight on lyricist poem music.
I think that's the same reason why Eminem is so popular is because he tells a story kind of. He's more about talking about the struggle.
A little angry. I could never get into him because he's just too angry. He sounds like he's screaming at me. That's the only thing I didn't care about him.
I see it from his perspective where he was in an area where it's rap at that point was considered if you're white, you're just making fun of it. And you're never taken seriously. Like, he was one of the very first white rappers to actually break through that barrier, like actually earn respect, is
Well, the Beastie Boys. The Beastie Boys were all white. Some are Jewish, some are Buddhist, and the other ones were just regular. So it's mixed religion, mixed. Actually, not mixed race because they're all white. But the Beastie Boys opened that up for everybody, and
but Beastie
they're
Boys,
highly respected.
They weren't really captivated by the major black audience, though, which was the weird thing. They were still.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
I see what you're saying.
Eminem was probably the first one that broke through that.
I agree.
And
I
where
agree with
all
you.
audiences could listen. Beastie Boys are really, really good. And now people like all races are looking at Beastie Boys, like even now that they're no longer a band. But the concept of at the time, a bunch of people just saw them, how they were dressing, the flashy outfits, and that was what we would call the considered stereotypical white rapper, like, you know, the one that's acting like fake kind of. But really, that was just their style. And once you got past their looks, you listen to their music, you realize it's some really good shit.
Oh yeah.
What would you say, I guess, your prediction for kind of music in general, or just maybe rap? Because I mean, I see it kind of really just getting dumbed down a little bit more and more every single day forward, because it seems like now it just, you don't even have to really talk anymore. You can just go up on the microphone and that gets the number one beat sold. I'm like, where was the content?
Every decade or every couple of years, all types of songs or all type of genres go into this shitstorm, which is just goes down the drain, and then it reinvents itself and it comes back out. Now, as far as hip hop is concerned, I think we are at our lowest, and I do hope that it's going to change because it drastically needs changing.
What would you say needed to be changed? Definitely Iggy Azalea, I think, just needs to go.
Well, great thing that you actually, yeah, I got confused. I thought you meant Azalea Banks, which is another one that I don't understand what's going on with that girl. I think she's great talent, and I don't know what's going on.
A lot of them seem like they're doing the Trump style type thing, and they're just trying to get popular by being really, really outrageous.
Look, it's just simple. It's just simple. In the last 10 years, you know, just the fact that you can buy a phone and produce your music on your phone and create beats on your phone, and just rap on your phone and have a hit. You can master everything. You can do everything. You can build a website. You can do social media. You can make tickets. You can do everything you want from a phone. And it's dumbed down so much that people are just copying that trend. So it's going to take, I don't know how long it's going to take, but they need to do something with that music.
If you watch anything on Facebook video wise, it's some person making beats. I swear to you, at least with my news feed, that's all it is. It's memes about depression that people are just complaining about. And then you like it and laugh at it. And you're like, wait a minute, why did I laugh at that? Oh yeah, because you're depressed. And then, you're looking through as people just complaining, either looking for recommendations, taking pictures of them at a bonfire or a party. And then it goes into people making beats. Like if you look in the podcast community, that's supposed to be for podcasters. But now we have a bunch of people making beats. We have a bunch of people that are just doing, check my beat out, check my beat out, check my beat out. And I'm like, and then you listen to it. It's like, did you try?
No.
I think at that point, it became a part where that was a really quick way for you to get a lot of fame without having to really try super hard to go out and do anything. It was very, very quick. And now a lot of people are trying to captivate on it. And I think that all started when dubstep came out, when Skrillex, all these types of things. I remember when that hit mainstream because I literally was like,
that's a great analogy where you're saying it. It's a great, I never heard of that, of the way you said it, but I do agree with you on that.
Because once Skrillex came out, that got so popular so fast, and I never understood it.
When Skrillex came out, I remember if you YouTube Coco Walk, 2 words, 360 mix, 360 MIX, 1 word. So Coco Walk, 360 mix. There's a performance that I did there. There was about, I don't know, 3,000-4,000 people. And I threw in Skrillex, it's the 16-minute version of the video if you're looking for it. And I threw in dubstep, and that's when dubstep was right, like breaking. I mean, like my friend said, are you crazy? You're going to throw in dubstep? And I throw in dubstep in the middle of this huge audience, and they picked it up. And I mean, nobody was playing this stuff. Nobody. And I'm like, I was shocked that I threw it in because I typically don't play that style of music, but the reaction was just amazing. And it was just breaking in. And it was Skrillex, his first hit.
That paved the way for some stuff like the rap. I guess you would even really call it rap, more like a reggae style of rap. Sean Paul, like Temperature. I remember listening to that.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like when he starts like rapping, and then you're like, what is he saying? I don't know. It's good. Don't even toss out my man Shaggy. Are you kidding me? They go, oh, Mr. Loba Loba.
Oh, but these are all classics. These are classics now. These are songs that will never die. You can play it in 20 years and 30 years, and you're like, oh my God, this guy just threw in Shaggy. You know?
Who's that guy? Chubby Checkers, I think his name is. And he had that one hit song.
Chub Rock.
Oh my God.
Treat him right.
No, I'm talking about Chubby Checkers, the guy that did the song Do the Twist.
Oh, yes. The Twist. Okay.
And then he tried to make another song, and it wasn't.
Yeah, Twist again. Yeah.
And then he was like, all right, we're going to do the Twist again. And I was like, yeah. Just doing different versions of
a different version of what worked. But hey, that's great, Robbie. I mean, that's great that you brought that up, because that's exactly what's happening right now with hip hop. People are doing. I'm going to start using that from now on. The chubby checkered thing method. Got a hit. I need another one. Let's call it Twist Again with the same exact beat. Just sing another song. That's so awesome. You see, you're teaching me stuff.
I'm telling you, man, it's funny because I was listening and I was like, man, what's this other songs? And I'm looking, I'm like, does that say the left twist? Does that say the right twist? Does that say the upside down twist? I'm like, he's doing other versions of the hokey pokey right now.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Another artist that I love right now, and I think is very talented, Charlie Puth. I don't know if you ever heard of him.
I haven't.
Yeah, Charlie Puth, one of his songs, it's a year old already. It's called Attention. He's got a couple of other songs out there now, but he's a great artist. This is a real, true artist. He knows how to play keyboard. He knows how to produce music. He puts his life into it, and you can tell when he's producing that he's not just downloading tracks and singing over it.
I love it, like watching, like as I've grown up and see the types of music that were hitting at certain times. Like I remember back being a kid listening to Sean Kingston all the time, listening to Beautiful Girls and that beat. And then a little bit later down the road, I heard CeeLo Green's "Fuck You."
Oh yeah.
And then I was listening to that, and it's like that sounds the same, but it was completely different. It was like bringing back a trend into my life.
It's true, and funny that you mentioned both of those artists, or at least CeeLo Green. He's an actual musician.
Yeah, he plays multiple instruments.
Right. So that song was well produced, well made, and it got him to where he is, even though he was around and before that song, but nobody knew really who he was until that song came out.
I think a lot of
music. Gnarls Barkley.
Oh, Gnarls Barkley, yeah, good guy right there too.
Yeah, which is CeeLo Green. A lot of people don't know.
Holy shit! I never even thought.
Same guy. You see what I
only know what CeeLo Green looks like, and
exactly same thing.
I've never seen any. I just listened to his audio only. I never saw a music video.
Yeah.
Holy shit, man! You're blowing my mind.
Yeah. There you go, man.
The more you know. Dude, who can forget one of the best rap artists of all time, Bill Nye the Science Guy?
Love that guy, Bill Nye the Science Guy. Bill Nye. I think we should do that together.
You could literally say, yeah, Bill
Nye the Science Guy. Bill. All right, we got our geek out.
Have you seen Little Dicky's version of Too High?
No.
All right, you got to look up this song. It's just his whole experience. Little Dicky is a white Jewish rapper, but he does a song called "Save That Money," and it's literally him and then Rich Homie Quan, and it's literally his whole music video for it is trying to budget a music video by making the most like expensive music video, but with the least money spent.
Amount of money. Okay.
So he's going to rich people's houses and he's filming in their house. And he's like, can I just borrow like film inside your house for a minute? Then they're finding like going to clubs and they're asking rich people to get in their cars and stuff. And he's a rich guy, but he's a really good, actually, like in this time period now at this point, really good original rapper. You would like a lot of his stuff, but his song Too High is talking about getting way too high. And they're watching like Bill Nye the Science Guy and they're laughing and like, man, I'm pretty fucked up right now. Then he's like sitting there and he's rapping. He goes, had to shit, but the path to the bathroom was complex. Crafted a long text, took about an hour, took a scary shower. And he's like, he's just rapping. And it's like the whole music video is just hilarious, dude. I'm like, but this is funny stuff. Like a lot of people don't really like his style because they think he's a comedian, but he did a song called Professional Rapper with Snoop Dogg. And he goes and sits in Snoop Dogg's office and he's like trying to show him he can rap. And then Snoop Dogg just takes him on in the ending, but he's making fun of him the whole time. But he realized like, you're not even going to give me a shot. And Snoop Dogg's like, all right, I'll give you a shot. And it was crazy to see his whole career evolve because he was just doing joke rapping. And the next thing you know, it turned into something. I think like if you look at like, there's obviously the really popular trendy rap stuff. Like, you know, when Macklemore made Thrift Shop.
Right. Yes. Yes.
Everybody, I mean, Thrift Shop, the sales went up in all those stores.
Right.
Everybody was wearing their grandpa's sweatshirt or something.
Yeah. And it's funny because I thought when that song came out, then maybe that would change the trend a little bit. And now we're going to get more of those funny rhymes. And we need that. We need that. I'm going to check out Little Dicky. I wrote down all the songs you told me to check out. But yeah, we need some fun back in rap.
Yeah, well, if you really want to look up a good one by Little Dicky, I'm giving a huge promotion right now, but look up his song Earth. He hired so many people to make that video. He got Leonardo DiCaprio, he got Kevin Hart, he got Snoop Dogg, he got every famous person you can think of, like that's popular in the trending albums, Justin Bieber, everybody. He got all of them just to say one little line in the part of the song, and it's all about a song about protecting the earth. And it's like, it was a big motivational thing. Like that just came out like last year. So everyone was freaking out like, holy shit, like he's awakening us to a problem. And like, that was it. It was a whole bunch of artists coming together. You know, Kevin Hart plays Kanye West. And like, it's pretty funny. Like it's a really good, kind of like where you listen to it, you're like, damn, this is like that reduce, reuse, recycle song that gets stuck in your head. It really makes you look twice at you know, just the world in a way.
I'll check it out.
Now, where do you kind of like go off from doing music and all these things? You end up starting to do cinematography.
Yeah. I started in, I mean, just to go quickly over my career, I went to school broadcast. I did web design a lot. I worked in computers for a while. I made most of my money, bought a house, being a creative director for different internet companies, working with websites and marketing and programming and all that stuff. Then I got back into DJing, and then I ended up in radio. One of my things that I love the most, believe it or not, which is kind of weird because a lot of DJs don't like it, are weddings. So I enjoyed weddings, and I got into photography, wedding photography. Then I got into wedding cinematography. So now I do a lot of that as well. And I do like product photography. Anything that has to do with video production. So,
what do you find so fascinating about video production?
I love it because everything that I do, I don't consider work. I consider a creative. You know, I'm using my creative side. So music, video production, it's all stuff that I love. So I don't consider it work.
I find it like it's the same reason. Like when I used to take pictures and make videos, I used to do favorite movie scenes and stuff, and I used to put it on my Instagram. And we would do funny movies like from Step Brothers or something. It was just really, really fun, and you get to kind of learn a little bit more. Like now, when I look at films, I took a videography class in my high school year, like senior year. And I now look at all the camera angles as I'm watching a movie and all the stuff that's going in there that a lot of people don't even take the time to really pay attention to.
Right. Yeah. A lot of people don't understand how things are created, rule of thirds and blocking and all that stuff. They don't know anything about that. They just watch the movie. They know if they like it or they don't like it.
Plus the time and energy it takes to edit and produce a film and make it look good as shit. Oh my God.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Hours and hours and hours
and that's
hours.
Just for 5 minutes. You're there for hours, and the next thing you're like, finally 5 hours, and I got this done. You click on it, it's like a 3-minute long video. You're like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah,
what?
Yeah. A 3-minute long video clip that we did, actually a little bit less. I think it's about 2 minutes. I literally worked maybe 3 days over those 3-minute, that 2.5 minute clip.
See, it was
just to get it precise and get it the timing right and getting the music and the vibe and reshooting things if I had to reshoot it, but it came out perfect. It looks like a movie.
It was the same thing like for me when I decided to do podcasting. A lot of people decide like, oh, you got to edit every single one. I was like, nah, I'm posting up raw and real. And people are like, why would you do that? I'm like, because I like in the background if I hear a kid go up to their dad that I'm talking to and be like, Dad, I'm hungry. He's like, all right, hey, can we put this on pause? I gotta go feed my kid. I'm like, yeah, no, go ahead. I'll cut it out to the part where we put it on pause. But at the same time, the dog barking in the back, the person coughing, it shows that you're a real person.
That's correct.
It shows that you have a life. Like I'm asking you, George, to take an hour out of your day and have a conversation with me. I don't want to edit out any parts because I'm in the conversation, and this is what real conversation is. And I find that people that can't look past audio or can't look past this, like half the time people are talking on their cell phones. They're not usually using a professional microphone. It's like, no, I'm in it for the conversation. If you can't get past just a little bit of scratchy or too loud or too quiet, then I don't know what to tell you because you're missing out on truly an amazing conversation with an awesome person.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I agree with you.
It's so many things. Like you do so much. And I think it's because of the concept of you're interested in a lot, because all the things that you're exploring are what a lot of people would consider like a side gig or a hobby. Like radio broadcasting is a professional career, but then doing DJing, these types of things, these are things people dream about making a lifestyle, but because they're fun.
Right.
That's why.
That's correct. And that's why I tell people say, well, why do you do that? How do you make a living in this? And then like, you're a DJ? I'm like, yeah, I'm a DJ. I said, I enjoy what I do. The 4 hours that I'm working your party, I'm enjoying what I'm doing. And it's not considered work. It's not one day that I don't want to go out and do an event. And kind of like you asked me that question, don't you get bored of the same music? Sometimes, yeah, I do get bored, but you know what? I'll wake up the next day and play the same thing at the next party, and I'm all happy because I'm dealing with people. I'm seeing their emotions. I'm seeing their reactions. I'm seeing different things, and it's almost like having a conversation. Almost, but it's one-sided conversation. I'm playing the music, they're listening to it, but they're reacting with their bodies.
They're shouting out requests in the background. You're like, shut up. I played that song. We're not listening to Toes in the Water and Toes in the Sand. You can take that album and shove it up your backside of your, yeah. But it's the whole concept. Like it's fun. And you do have your nights some night where you're like, oh shit, like these people are just vibing on this, and you feel like you kind of messed up. But the best part is you come back from that. You play it again, and then you get a really good experience. And that good experience, you're leaving like you just won a medal or something. You're like you're basically high on life. You're like, damn, that was great.
Right. And then you get people, that come up to you and they say, man, I haven't heard that song since I was in college. I haven't heard that song since I was in high school. I haven't heard this. Oh my God, we got married to that song or I'm playing with people's emotions. I'm bringing their memories from where they heard the songs.
Smoke, you're playing with my emotions.
Right.
Every time someone says that, I always think of that moment. But it's crazy because music is so powerful that it can literally trigger a memory in the back of your head that you might not even know had it existed, like you totally forgot about.
I have songs that I know exactly what I can play a song and know exactly like where I heard it, and some songs remind me of where I was. I remember riding. I had a little tiny motorcycle, one of those 50cc motorcycles back in the day, and I was listening to music, and I remember that music I was listening to when I was riding that little motorcycle back in the day. So it brings memory. Dude, music to me brings memory. I don't know. Does it do that to you?
Yeah, man. I'll never forget listening to Black Eyed Peas back when they only had a CD player, and I'd walk to the bus stop. That's back when you picked a CD, you were fucking stuck with that CD. There was no Spotify, any of that. They didn't have it.
And you heard all the songs on that CD.
Nah, man, I'm telling you. And then like when I walked to the bus stop, I'd only like one of their songs, Pump It. That was it. On that one CD.
Right. But so you begin to like all the other ones.
Exactly. It would teach me the other ones. But I remember sitting on the bus stop, just kept hitting back,
Pump It.
back. And it's like eventually I was like, all right, I don't want to hear Pump It anymore.
By the way, I'm going to bring that song back into my rotation.
Dude, please do.
It's such a good song. Yes, it is. I haven't played it in a long time.
That guitar in the building, I mean, the beginning, oh my God, it builds you up so quick.
It reminds me, what is that? Kill Bill? That's a song that has that. Is it Kill Bill? It's one of the Tarantino movies. That guitar riff. I don't know.
Quentin Tarantino film, huh?
What? It's a movie.
Oh my God, it's gonna bug me all day now.
Yeah. Let me see. Let me look it up.
There's just too many popular songs. Like I know Boom Boom Pow is pretty good by Black Eyed Peas, but when you really like whenever I think of Sean Kingston, I immediately think, oh shit, it's my MySpace days. Back when MySpace was a thing. Like everybody remembers that. But I mean, it's crazy to see just how far music has come in a way. I mean, remember when All About That Bass came out and you thought that shit was never going to die? And then it was over with.
Yeah, that's it. You don't hear that anymore.
Yeah. And I mean,
isn't that amazing?
I look back at some of the songs that were really, really popular and start listening to them again. I'm like, they're not that bad. Like they're still there, but they don't have the impact like it did when it first came out.
No. And one of the longest ones that just killed me was Despacito.
Despacito?
You ever hear that song?
I don't think
Justin Bieber and Iglesias, something. It's a huge song.
Oh, dude, I heard Baby, and then I had to stop listening to basically all music in general.
Yeah, but look. Yeah, but that's what got him started.
Yeah, that's where you get to see that. Like, I think he hit fame way too fast. Because he hit it at like a growing age, and then when it hit him, he immediately went outraged, and now he's turned all Christian, and he's gone like the complete opposite direction. But it's like you get to see, like, I guess, power and fame take over some people. You know what I mean? The only person I have not seen it truly affect is fucking Jay-Z.
Right.
That man has stayed exactly the same and stayed humble as hell. He didn't do a Kanye West.
Nope.
And that's not shitting on Kanye, but I saw a video where it's a bunch of TMZ paparazzi people, and I understand Kanye's view. Like, good morning, Kanye. I hope you have a nice day. And he's like, hey, fuck you. I'm like, damn, Kanye, like, not even giving him a chance.
Yeah, he's got mental issues. I was listening to Kanye this morning, "Touch the Sky," which is one of my favorite songs from him. Underrated song, by the way. "Touch the Sky" by Kanye West. Check it out. He was really good. He was. I don't know what happened to him, but I don't know. By the way, I know, backtracking a little bit, the Black Eyed Peas "Pump It," the sample is Dick Dale and his Deltones, Mr. Lou, and that's the artist, and that's the guitar.
Don't you think that it's weird that there's this one song called "Play That Funky Music, White Boy"?
White Boy.
And there's another song that sounds exactly the same to that.
Play That Funky Music, White Boy. Who's the other one? That
Think about the beginning of "Play That Funky Music, White Boy." Play that funky music, white boy. And then now listen to this. It's in Austin Powers. Ready? It goes. Yeah,
you're right. Sounds a little bit similar to it.
"When You Wish Upon a Star," that song, it's the beginning intros are like legit exactly the same. I was just hearing people on the radio talk about that today. They were like, yeah, that's that one song. Like, no, it's not. Listen to it. And then it changes.
Right.
And you're like, holy shit, they were so close together. Because that was like the funk era. Everybody was wearing giant boots.
Yeah. Right.
Going to roller rinks back when roller rinks were an actual thing.
Right. Actual thing.
That was a terrible time in our history.
No. Don't say that.
No, if you lean too much forward, you had the stoppers on the front of your feet.
Don't say that. Don't say that. You're hurting my feelings.
Dude, I busted up my mouth so hard, flipping over and just.
I was an avid roller skater.
Avid roller skater. Roller rink, bro.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Every chance I got.
Now you see people with rollerblades.
During high school, late high school, I was going almost 3 times a week. Definitely twice.
I always hated the roller skaters I would see on the street, and then they go and try and show off and go backwards, and I want to take a stick and just throw it right in front of them.
That was me.
Oh my goodness, no. Can you ice skate?
The funny thing is, the first time I put ice skates, I can actually go backwards on my second round.
What?
Yes.
Dude, every time I got on ice skates, my legs would just go out from under me and I'd slip and hit the ground. And as soon as I touched it, my foot would just go out.
I went around once and I thought I was just going to break my ass. And sure enough, no. I maybe fell twice.
Every time I go to if I go to roller skate or something, I always get hit by somebody. When I go to an ice skating rink, I had a little kid take my legs. I had my kids take out my legs from under me. I mean, straight up, little toddler couldn't stop, went right in the back of my legs, dude. Yep. I flipped back, hit my head on the ice. My grandma ran out. She's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, honestly, I'm done with this shit.
I'm done. And it's hard to get up from that ice.
Yeah, you go get up, and the next thing you know, you're slipping.
You're back down again. Shit, man. Yeah, it's not easy.
Oh man, I was like, I tried to take them off too. I tried to walk it off, and that was even worse.
Yeah, no.
Like, I need to get off this ice, and like, you need to skate off. I'm like, no, I'm just gonna take them off, and I take off and I'm trying to walk on it. And I'm like sliding even more. I'm like, shit.
Yeah, I loved roller skating. I only went, I think, ice skating 3 times in my time.
What did you love about roller skating so much that you could just deck people?
I know. I didn't do that. I love I just love listening to music and just dancing, going backwards, forward, shuffling. And then when I started getting really, really good, there was like a little bar, like a little around the edges where it would turn. There was like a little counter area where people sit on the other side, and I would jump up on there and do a flip and go back into dancing.
You show off.
Yeah, it was a show off. I wasn't the best, but I showed off what I did. And my friends say every time roller skating comes to mind, I was the guy. I don't consider myself that good.
I'm telling you, man, when I can see the music part to it, but I remember so many times, like, just going to a roller rink or something, like for like a birthday party or something. Oh, we're going to the roller rink. And I'd go. As soon as I stepped on that thing, I mean, if I tried to stop, if I was going too fast, or I even felt like I got the hang of it, fucking kid out of nowhere, just bam, side checks me. No, it's happened so many times. Once
I got good, where I would go with some friends, like newer friends that didn't know I roller skated, I would put on my speed skates or my Rydell Classics. They were the boots, and I would get, as soon as I get on the rink, I would almost like stutter skate, like I was falling and I was like about to go down, and I would turn around and make a turn, and it looked like I had no clue what I was doing. People would just love it because they knew I was acting.
My buddy. Right. My buddy used to play ice hockey, and I remember he took me to a recreational game one time. So it's a bunch of people like 10 years older than me, and I'm like the youngest one there. I don't know how to ice skate at all. So my buddy's like the type, he can do ice skating. He could jump and do like a spin and shit. Like, he's really good that way, and he's good at ice hockey. I got on the rink. Everyone's going circles around me. Then some dude checked the shit out of me when I got a puck. And I swear to God, I was so pissed. I literally stood in one spot, waited for him to come by me, and I fucking rammed right into him, dude. I mean, just straight up like stuck my whole body out, checked him.
Nice.
I was like, look, that's it. If people are just going to start checking me because I can't skate, they're all skating around me. I'm just taking off the skates and I'm fighting people this way.
Yeah, I mean, everybody had to learn, and I'm sure I was like that too. When I first started, people would run in and I would fall and I would kick, but you start getting the hang of it. At least when I grew up, skating was still around for a couple more years. So it was, I would say, in the heyday, but already kind of phasing out. But it was still popular enough where there was skating centers everywhere. And then a couple of years, like 4 or 5 years later, you start seeing the skating centers close down. And then there was like one left. Actually, we still have 1, 2, 3. We still have 3 skating centers.
I'm telling you.
In a 70-mile range of each other.
If you're a parent, like if I was a parent and roller skating came back,
Mm-hmm.
my kid really pissed me off and decides he's just going to stand in the middle of the roller rink where I can't get to him.
Yeah,
it's fucking over.
It's over. But hey, let me ask you this. Do you prefer your kids roller skating or playing with an iPhone or a phone mobile app game or whatever?
Please go do the roller skates. I don't care. I don't care if people call you queer or whatever. Just go do it.
Right. But remember, that's what we grew up. At least I didn't grow up with cell phones or anything. We had to literally get out of the house and go do something fun.
I was there when the flip phone came. Like that was in my childhood, but I had to be 15 to get my own phone. And then it was it was called the Amigo, where you could only call 3 people.
Oh, wow.
And one was my cousin. So I would run. I remember grabbing the landline and calling someone in a different state. And then my grandma would be like, how long you been on the phone? I'm like, I think like 30 minutes. She's like, that's $1 a fucking minute. And when I grab the shit and slam it on the I'm like, oh. Yeah. I mean, I remember the fear of calling somebody's house like, can John come out and play? And it's like, why does John need to go out and play? He's doing homework right now. I'm like, I just want to see, after I would tell him like, hey, I'm going to call you at this time. Answer your phone so I don't have to talk to anybody.
You're bringing back memories, man.
Yeah, man. You got to bring up that dial back. I bet more people will. If you had to make texting through dialing, like actually like the flip phones.
Dial a number. Oh, the old school texting.
I'm telling you, if we did old school texting where you have to hit a number 3 times to get one letter, those paragraph texts you receive, they would fucking turn down to one-worded things.
That's it. That's it.
That's how we got.
And let's not go back to beepers.
Oh shit! You're not. I mean, if you have a beeper now, you're like a drug dealer or something.
Yeah. I don't think anybody has that anymore. But we used to have codes though.
Yeah.
Because there was no text; it was numbers. But anyway, that's a whole different vintage topic.
It's a whole different ball game in the world we're living in now.
Right. But hey, everything changes, and then before we had roller skating, we had this, we had that, and now we have cell phones.
Exactly. And you saw our cell phones going from really big to really small. So now they're big again to where I can't even fit them in my jeans.
Right. Yeah. And the technology we have in front of us, man. I mean, you can literally produce, create, market everything with the cell phone. You don't need to do anything but that.
Everything comes back. And George, I just have to say, man, I think I know what's coming back. I think we both do. Rollerblading, bro. We're bringing it back.
Oh,
we're bringing sexy back with rollerblades.
Oh, we're bringing sexy back.
Oh man, if they start building roller rinks everywhere, I'm going to be a little bit upset.
If Little Dicky starts a roller rink video, then yes, we're going back to it.
Yeah, man, I'm telling you, times are changing. They're shifting. We're going back to the 80s. Let's do it. Bell-bottom dresses are coming next.
Let's do it.
Well, George, thanks so much for doing the podcast, man. I want to give you here a minute at the end to promote your own content so people can find your awesome stuff.
Thanks so much, Robbie. It was a pleasure to be with you and Out of the Blank. And I love speaking with you, and the topics were great. And just a little bit about where you guys can see me, the Better Than Nothing show, which is btns.tv. You can also see my personal website, which is 360mix.com. Or on YouTube, just type in 360 Mix, all one word. And that's me here in South Florida, Miami. And it was a pleasure, man. Pleasure speaking with you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Out of the Blank, and stay tuned for our next episode.